Welcome. These will be my thoughts on The Walking Dead Season 6, Episode 15, East. The episode is rated TVMA, so this video there will be spoilers for everything live-action Walking Dead leading up to and including this episode. Another episode I absolutely fucking loved. So before I get into the specific episode, I did want to recommend, Matt Bernstein, along with two guests, fairly recently did a really excellent video. I'm gonna make sure I get the title right because I have it right here. The Campaign to Crush Chaperone. And yeah, like the really solid analysis. And they also play off each other really well, the three of them. Like, they are genuinely funny. By the end of watching it, I was left in tears. That's a pretty terrible joke that you'll understand when, I hope, or if you watch the video. Anyway, yeah, holy crap, I can hardly wait to see how the season ends. Anyway, I think I will try to keep this more or less chronological, even though some of the last things that happen in the episode are ones that I really badly want to talk about. Anyway, I think, yeah, so we see a tiny bit more before Carol left. Preparing provisions and hiding that, and and we see some sweet and by the end of the episode bittersweet relationship. Yeah. It's just just the showering together and sharing food, just these you know hypothetically small seeming things that just add a lot to a relationship. There's an intimacy to them, and I really appreciate that. As usual, the show is not like super fucking horny. Like, they're naked in the shower, but like the focus is on them, their feelings for each other and the bruises and such, rather than and let's see, I think that does pretty much get us to the so Daryl leaves. I quite like the thing about where are you going? Out. I think we pieced that one together. I think they're that far along in figuring this out. But thank you. And Rosalita knows where Daryl is going and wants Abraham to stay behind, take the shift, and obviously very dangerous to split up and get so many away from Alexandria when the saviors are just waiting. I did appreciate the things about how, Carol managed to sneak off because she knew exactly when the guard shifting happened. When when it goes from one guard to another guard, because she helped figure all this out, and she was smart enough to take one of the cars that was already outside so that she doesn't have to deal with opening and closing the door, which would obviously draw attention from the guards. And and I think that is when we see, I thought it worked incredibly well when she's got the confrontation with some of the saviors, and just this thing of like, she tries to just drive, because maybe, but of course, no, they are going to try to stop her. And she readies the gun, and I thought it worked really well that, she's got the gun and she's got the crucifix both in hand, and the only one of the two that the saviors can see is the crucifix. And her being very upset, like, yeah, she does not want to have to kill again. That's why she tries to get them to leave. She's not scared of what they'll do to her. And yeah, really, really cool. She blasts them away. And yeah, just I loved the tension of that entire thing. I love that we have to sit there with, so it's not like she can drive again and they've got their guns ready, and she's sitting there and she's trying to talk some sense into them. I guess they haven't been watching the show up to this point. And the fact that, you know, a bunch of the time, until, they're maybe a minute or two after they start talking, we eventually do get an okay look at the saviors there. But at first, we get, not like super close up, but close up of her face, and or I guess, I don't know, medium shot, whatever. The something in between the two maybe, and the some of the time the camera is on her even when they're the ones talking, and just like, it's very much this thing of, we are witnessing it from her perspective. She's the one we empathize with here. And even when we do see them, it's like, it's not literally POV, but it's almost like it is, the camera doesn't immediately get super close to them. And let's see, yeah, and she has to shoot a couple of them after those first, yeah. And yeah, oh, the part with the spear, spike, I guess, is she put his head on a spike, or is it a pike, for all to see. And yeah, that was a really effective way to, yeah, really, really fucked up. Absolutely loved it. And I think that is when the so yeah, Morgan and Rick leave to find her. And as soon as the one guy does not answer Rick, he just stabs him in the head so that he doesn't turn, because he's clearly not going to give information. And yeah, yeah, oh my god, the part with the horse guy, yeah, the guy looking for a horse, because it's like, shit, listen, I understand Rick's paranoia, but Morgan might be right. This guy literally might just be looking for a horse, And the yeah, really appreciated Morgan telling Rick. I mean, it was just a matter of time, the others can't watch him every second. And I think that does pretty well. Yeah, and I love that Rick decreases the tension with the, Michonne did steal a protein bar. And yeah, ultimately he leaves Morgan out there looking more for Carol, but Michonne and the others are not back, and we see them be captured. They do find Daryl, and he refuses to return. And by the end of the episode, all of them, yeah. Because this time Dwight really did set a trap for them. That's why it was so easy to find the two that had been captured. And, they're like, they do what they can to communicate, this is one fight you can't win. But, yeah. I like the stuff with Erin and Maggie. Erin really trying to help out and seeing her smile a little, because she is more comfortable there now. And I'm genuinely worried that Maggie is indeed going to miscarry. That is very much what it looks like. And yeah, I mean, there was a knife slash very close to in the episode with some of the saviors having Maggie and Carol. So yeah, I'm really worried. I hope that I'm mistaken. Now, I feel like that pretty much covers... There's at least one more thing. What was the other... Let's see. I could have sworn there was at least one... I did also like the thing about like, oh, I'm sorry, did I cut your hair too short? I normally only cut my dad, and it's this silly thing of like, women have to have long hair, men have to have short hair, just... And let's see. So yeah, because she's used to cutting a man's hair, when she cuts a woman's, she might cut it shorter than is, considered, the norm. To be clear, I'm not saying you can't have a preference. I'm just talking about, like, it's ridiculous that, I don't think anyone should shame anyone else for having short or long hair. Now, I think that... I feel like there's at least one more thing, but what on earth was it? Let's see. I did appreciate the discussion about, maybe they should let Daryl just take out the saviors. And let's see. I think that might just about cover it. Oh, yeah. Oh, God, the part where he tells Carol, I went to the, I got the thing. Yeah, he says, like, it's really quiet at the medical area now that Denise is gone. And, before, back when the other doctor was still alive, she would mostly just sit by herself in her home and read and just, yeah. And the fact that Carol, like, essentially dissociates, she's just, she after a while isn't even hearing him, which is completely understandable, of course, but just, yeah, very effectively done with the editing and acting. Yeah, I think that might cover, let's see. Yeah, just really, really looking forward to seeing what happens next. And I feel okay. I'm just mentally gonna fast forward through the entire episode to see if I can pinpoint something that was let's see. So I feel like I've said everything about Carol and Daryl, and I think about anything that happened in Alexandria. Yeah, I continue to really appreciate, so it is still like an open question, like, would it have been better if Daryl had finished off, Dwight? Because at the end of the day, like, the big problems in this episode start with people leaving Alexandria. If they had stayed in Alexandria, they would probably have been fine. How are they going to get in there? But now they have leverage. A word that I did indeed know before watching Battlefield Earth. Thank you very much. I know I'm not the only person who watched that movie and was like, okay, someone had leverage as the on their word of the day calendar.